What's up? I'm Austin Hancock. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be quick. What we're talking about is fear. You guys a lot of times have fear about what you're going to do. I want to go do these things, but I have such fear. And there's usually only two reasons that you have this fear. Two reasons. The first reason is rejection. You're afraid of being rejected and you can't handle it. Most people aren't really scared of failing itself. They're scared of the rejection that comes with failing, meaning like, what does my wife think? What do my kids think? What do my friends think? What does my social circle think? What do the people around me think about me if I fail? Because if we were all to go try things and to do things and we were to fail and the only consequence was it kind of bruised our ego and nobody else knew about it, I bet more than likely most people would go out there and try a lot more things. But fear just completely cripples most people because they're not really scared of failing themselves, but they're scared of what other people will say or do about them. It's a very human instinct, right? It's very tribal when it comes into this. One of the best things that we can do with that fear of rejection is to write out what is the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that will happen? You know, maybe a few people heckle me. Maybe I'm embarrassed because I quit my job and went and did that thing and then it ended up not working out. Maybe my wife, she wasn't on board with it and I had to go convince her to do it and then I failed right in front of her, which is disappointing and unfortunate. But you know what happens that you're not thinking about is the growth that comes along with that, right? How much you grow. Because what's not talked about enough is throughout the entrepreneurial journey or throughout the journey of you facing your fears in general, doesn't have to be through entrepreneurship, is how much you personally develop. You're forced to personally develop as you face things that are new to you, right? Most people get out of school, they go to college, they get out of college, they go get a job, they do what they're supposed to do, but none of them really stretch outside of their own comfort zone to really attack or take on the world or define their version of success and go do it. And the ones that do, a lot of time are people point a finger at them and hackle them or make fun of them. And then the ones that do, they get to a certain point and then they're afraid to get any further because they don't want to lose what they have, right? And so that number one is rejection. And number two is uncertainty, right? We're uncertain of the outcome. You know, in school, we knew when the bell would ring, we switched classes. We knew that if we got a degree, we should hopefully, most people, they went into college, they're like, I'm going to get a job. But if you're my age or younger, you probably realize that ain't the case. Nothing's guaranteed in this life, right? But we're kind of programmed and we want this vision of certainty. We want to know that that's going to be okay and that it's all going to be okay. And if it's not, then we have something else to figure out. But the biggest thing you can rely on is you and you're what you learn. And once you start to accept that responsibility, then the uncertainty becomes something that excites you, right? It's a new venture because the weight's back on your shoulders. Something that I learned reading the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink wasn't what I think most people would think, right? It was the fact that if all of the problems, because I read this book at a time in my life while I was building custom homes and I had two babies, right? My kids are 13 months apart. So that means that I had two kids under the age of 3 my oldest couldn't even walk yet. And I had built a big house because I was a big baller builder and struggled throughout that situation and then realized, holy crap, I shouldn't have done this so early. But I figured it out, right? We figured it out. This book and Jocko's book and the podcast and everything came to me at a certain time that really helped me. And it was the fact that I was blaming everybody else. Growing up in the construction field, in the blue collar industries, even in the Marine Corps, it's always like this person's doing it. Blame, 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 blame. If the HVAC guy parked here, I can't get my job done. If this is going on, I can't do it. If the weather's bad, well, the weather must be nice. Well, when the market comes back up, well, when the next president comes back in, like it's always constantly bitching. It's like the way you communicate. And once I realized that, and I started to self-develop, I started to read books and listen to podcasts and go to masterminds. And ultimately, the reason that I'm successful today and what I still do to surround myself with like-minded people. I don't want to hang out with people by happenstance. I want to hang out with people being intentional with who I want to be around, right? People that want to grow. So the book, it made me realize, hey, if extreme ownership, if everything is my responsibility, everything in my life is my responsibility, and the results are what I live and how I live and what I look like and what I have financially and the relationships that I have. If all of that is up to me, if it is due to me, then that means it's not a bad thing. It's a blessing. And I can take responsibility of that. I can take extreme ownership of that. And I can go out and I can change it. And if I can't change certain things, I can't change other people. Right? You can't change other people, the way they act, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they treat you. But you can change hanging out with them. You can change being around them. You can change being in the industry they're in. You can change your social circle. You don't have to tolerate any of that. With extreme ownership, you own it, right? If it's my fault, then that means I'm also what? I'm the solution. So I'm the solution. And once you become solution oriented, right, you're going to get rid of a lot of the things that we just talked about, the uncertainty and the rejection. You're not worried about the rejection because you know what? It's going to come and it's going to go. And probably the biggest person and the biggest cloud that will follow you around is the rejection you feel from yourself before you've even tried, right? You're so fearful and scared of taking these steps and failing because you're just worried about your ego, which is a very selfish way to approach it. And if you're a religious person, you believe in God in general, then you're just spitting on the opportunity that's been given to you by God. Right? And so if that's the truth and you're given this vision for a reason, you need to go after it. And the uncertainty, right? We're programmed to eat out of the hand. And if you're programmed to eat out of the hand and you actually talk all this talk and you say all these things like F the system and I want to live on my own and nobody's going to tell me what to do and, you know, punk rock or whatever else it is, you know, oh, freedom, freedom, freedom. But yet you're like, well, the same person that says freedom is also the person that's like, well, I don't know if I can go out and go fishing with you. I don't know if I can go on vacation with you. I don't know if I can do these things because of my boss, because of X, Y, and Z, because I can't afford it. That's even an excuse I didn't want to have to face. Like, I don't want to be able to not afford something I want to do. I want to grow those things, right? I want to grow my wealth in order to be like, dude, I can do whatever I want, when I want, how I want, and where I want, with who I want. And that ultimately is what freedom is, right? It's your version of success and being able to control your life on this beautiful planet, the very limited amount of time you have. And what better to work towards than that? So in this YouTube video, all my objective was to do is to bring and shed some light upon fear and why these things happen and maybe some of the things that you've dealt with. If you like this type of video, if you like this new style that I'm putting out right now, I'm going to do more. This is in my podcast studio, so you'll see a bunch of badass podcasts coming out. The Outsider Show is what the name of the podcast is going to be, so early release right here in this video. We have a bunch of stuff lined out in 2026, but I appreciate you watching this video. If you like this type of thought process, if this helps and provides value in any way, make sure you make a comment, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. I ask for nothing else, and I look forward to seeing you guys watching the YouTube videos, seeing you guys engage with the YouTube videos, and providing as much help as we humanly possibly can through free content like this, and then also having amazing guests on The Outsider Show as we approach 2026. So, out.